Welcome to this Aircraft Systems Knowledge series. In this series, we will clearly explain how aircraft systems work, step by step in a simple and practical way. Each part focuses on one system, helping engineers, students, and aviation enthusiasts build strong technical understanding. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss the next part.
Welcome to The Explainer. Have you ever been on a night flight, staring out the window at 35,000 feet, and had that tiny thought creep into your head, what would happen if the power just went out? Well, today we're going to dive into the incredible engineering that makes sure that never, ever happens. We are going to pull back the curtain on the brilliant, multi-layered system that keeps a massive airliner powered up, miles above the Earth. Honestly, it's a system built with so much redundancy, it is an absolute masterclass in safety engineering. So to really appreciate this safety net, you have to think of a modern aircraft as a small flying city. I'm serious. It's totally reliant on electricity, and we're not just talking about the cabin lights in your in-flight movie. Electricity runs literally everything, from the pilot's critical flight instruments and navigation computers to the hydronic systems and, yep, even the coffee maker in the galley. Okay, so how does this whole power grid actually work? Well, it all boils down to two fundamental types of power. First, you have alternating current, or AC. That's the main power grid doing all the heavy lifting. Then you've got direct current, or DC, which is used for more specific systems. And usually it's just created by converting that main AC power. So where does all this electricity come from during a normal flight? Let's meet the main sources, the real everyday workhorses that keep that flying city humming along. Their real powerhouses are two integrated drive generators, or IDGs, strapped to each of the main engines. Then you have the auxiliary power unit, the APU. That's that smaller jet engine you sometimes hear whining in the tail of the plane. It has its own generator that can be used on the ground or as a first-line backup in the air. And of course, when the plane is parked at the gate, it just plugs right into the airport's power grid. Simple as that. And what about that DC power we mentioned? Well, for the most part, the plane just makes it by converting the AC power using three devices, called transformer rectifiers, or TRs. The plane's main batteries? They're mostly just kept in reserve for emergencies, with one special battery that has one job and one job only, starting up that APU. Okay, now this is where it gets really fascinating. Let's say one of those main engine-driven generators decides to take an unscheduled break mid-flight. What happens? Well, this is where the first layer of automated safety just kicks right in. See, the aircraft has its own smart grid, and the brain behind it is called the AC transfer circuit. You can just picture it as this super fast, intelligent system of switches and relays that is constantly monitoring the flow of power, ready to redirect it in the blink of an eye. So, the second that the AC transfer circuit detects a generator failure, it doesn't wait for a pilot to flip a switch. It doesn't need to. It instantly and automatically engages something called a bus tie contactor, and bam, power is rerouted from the working generator or the APU to power the whole plane. The switch is so seamless you'd never even know it happened. All right, let's really up the stakes. What happens in the unbelievably rare event that you lose all the main AC power sources? We're talking both engine generators and the APU generator are offline. This is what's known as the emergency electrical configuration. And as scary as that sounds, this system is designed for precisely this possibility. In this emergency electrical configuration, the plane doesn't panic. It just activates dedicated emergency power sources to keep the most vital systems alive and well. This is where the emergency AC team steps up. First, there's the emergency generator. And what's so cool about this is that it isn't driven by an engine. It's powered by the aircraft's hydraulic system, which gives it a completely independent source of power. But wait, there's more. If even that were to fail, the static inverter comes online, taking DC power from the plane's batteries and converting it into the essential AC power that's needed. Okay, so even in an emergency, some systems are way more critical than others. You don't need the in-flight entertainment, but you absolutely need the pilot's main flight displays. All of this core equipment gets its power from a specially protected circuit called the essential bus. And this right here just brilliantly shows the depth of the safety logic. The essential bus has a strict priority list. Normally, it gets power from the main grid. If that fails, it automatically switches to the other side of the main grid. If both fail, it switches to the emergency generator, and as a very last resort, it'll draw power from that battery-powered static converter. It just makes sure, no matter what, the pilots have what they need to fly the plane. So the most important thing to take away from all this is that it's not just one backup plan. It's not even two. It's a whole cascade of multiple, totally independent layers of safety, all designed to supply power no matter what's going on with the main sources. I mean, let's just count them up. You have the two main engine generators. That's two. You have the APU generator. That's three. You have the completely separate hydraulic-driven emergency generator. That's four. And as a final failsafe, you have the battery-powered static inverter. That is at least 5 independent ways to generate the AC power needed to keep flying safely. It's just an incredibly robust system.
That concludes this part of the aircraft systems explanation series. Stay tuned for the next module. This completes today's system overview. Subscribe and continue with us in the next part of the series. This section is complete. In the next part, we will continue with a detailed system explanation. End of this section. The next system explanation follows in the upcoming part.